Harry Potter and the Death of the U. Written by S. Rube.
Chapter 1. Leaving Again. Grimmauld Place learned Harry's hours. It knew the sound of him returning in the evening, coat shrugged off by the door, boots set neatly aside whether he noticed himself doing it or not. It knew when he lingered in the kitchen too long, staring into nothing, and when he passed through rooms without touching anything at all. It had grown used to his absences, brief and frequent, and to the way he always came back smelling faintly of cold earth and stone. Kreacher knew them too. Harry stood just inside the kitchen, coat already on, watching the elf move about the room with quiet precision. A pot simmered low on the stove. The counters were clean, the floor immaculate, the small rituals of order performed not out of obligation, but intent.
"Kreacher,"
Harry said. The elf straightened immediately.
"Master Harry."
"I'm going to be gone a few days."
Kreacher paused, cloth still in hand. His head tilted slightly, calculating, the way it always did when he measured time rather than questioned instruction.
"Master must be almost finished in Godric's Hollow. Master Harry spends all day and comes home."
Harry shook his head once.
"Not this time, Kreacher. I have business to attend to."
The word business settled between them, heavier than grief ever had. Kreacher lowered the cloth and nodded. There was no protest. No worry. Just acceptance.
"Kreacher will keep the house. Kreacher will make it ready for Master Harry's return."
"I'll be back."
Kreacher looked at him then, eyes sharp, unblinking, utterly certain.
"Kreacher knows."
The house creaked softly, as if acknowledging the exchange. He stepped back into the hall, the familiar dark wood and quiet portraits watching him pass without comment. Grimmauld Place did not cling. It did not ask questions. It had learned, as Kreacher had, that Harry Potter always returned, until the day he didn't. And this was not that day. He reached the front door, drew his coat tighter against the chill, and apparat. Chapter 2. Saltwater Conversations. Harry apparated into wind. It hit him immediately. Salt-heavy, sharp, threaded with the smell of seaweed and cold stone. The ground beneath his boots was uneven and damp, grass flattened by weather that never quite rested. Somewhere nearby, waves broke against rock with steady indifference, the sound low and constant, like breathing. Harry stood still for a moment and let the place announce itself. This was not London. This was not Grimmauld Place. The air here was open, uncontained. It carried distance in it. He turned, already knowing where his feet would take him. A small rise of earth sat just beyond the garden's edge, set apart from everything else. Harry walked toward it slowly, the wind tugging at his coat. When he reached the stone marker, he stopped. Here lies Dobby. A free elf. Harry lifted his wand and murmured the charm without ceremony. Flowers appeared in his hands, white and simple, fresh as if just cut. He knelt and placed them carefully at the base of the stone, adjusting them until they rested properly.
"Thank you,"
he said quietly. The sea answered with another wave. That was enough. He stood and brushed his hands together, then finally looked around. Not far off, nestled against the curve of the cliff, stood a cottage. It was small but solid, its stone walls weathered smooth by years of salt and wind. Seashells hung in the windows catching the pale light, turning it fractured and soft. Smoke drifted lazily from the chimney, thin and domestic against the wide sky. The place looked lived in, not hidden, but deliberately placed, as though it had chosen this edge of the world and stayed. Harry watched it for a moment. Then he turned and walked toward the house. The door to the cottage was open. Not wide, just enough to suggest movement inside. Harry could hear it now, faint but unmistakable, the low clink of something being set down, the soft scrape of a chair against stone. The smell of tea drifted out and mixed with the salt air, grounding the place further, anchoring it as something lived in rather than temporary. Harry reached the threshold and paused, more out of habit than hesitation. Before he could knock, a voice carried from the side of the house.
Thought that might be you.
Harry turned. Bill Weasley stood a short distance away near the fence line, sleeves rolled to his elbows, one tucked behind his ear as he worked at a section of wood that had clearly been repaired more than once. The sea wind tugged at his hair, already threaded with the marks of years and sun. Harry's mouth curved, just slightly.
Morning.
Watcha, Harry.
Bill said easily, straightening. He gave Harry a quick once-over, not assessing, just registering.
You operate clean?
Yeah.
Good.
Bill gestured with his chin toward the small rise behind Harry.
You went there first?
Harry nodded. Bill didn't comment on it. He didn't need to. He closed the distance between them and clapped Harry once on the shoulder, firm and familiar.
You caught me just in time.
Oh. Yeah?
Fleur's inside. Packing. She's off to France today.
Harry glanced toward the cottage.
Everything all right?
Everything's exactly as it should be. Her mum wants her closer for the last stretch.
That told Harry what he needed to know. They stepped inside together. The cottage was warm in a way Grimmauld Place never managed naturally. Light filtered through shells strung in the windows, throwing pale reflections across the stone floor. A kettle murmured on the stove. A half-packed bag sat open near the table, charmed neat but clearly in progress. Fleur's voice drifted from another room, musical and faint.
She'll come out in a minute, but sit.
He poured tea without asking, sliding a cup across the table toward Harry before taking his own seat. For a moment, they spoke of nothing. The weather. Gringotts. Repairs Fleur insisted could not wait even though Bill knew better. Bill mentioned he'd been meaning to shore up the fence since the last storm. Harry listened, grateful for the ordinary shape of it all. Bill set the mug down carefully, as if the table mattered.
So, what brings you all this way?
I'm trying to find Ollivander.
Bill blinked once. Just once.
All right.
Not surprised. Just attentive now.
I know he was here. After Malfoy Manor. Before we went to the bank with Griphook.
Bill huffed a quiet laugh.
Right. Just before you destroyed the place on the back of a dragon.
Yeah.
Harry said, smiling despite himself.
I believe you were the one who took him to Muriel's.
Bill nodded slowly.
He was in no shape to go anywhere on his own. Muriel agreed to take him in. It was meant to be temporary.
How long did he stay?
Well, he never really left. Not in the way you mean.
Harry turned back to him fully now.
Muriel came by about 9 months ago. Gossip, mostly. Proud of it too. Told Fleur she'd married him.
Harry blinked. Then steadied.
Married?
Yes.
Bill said, unapologetically amused.
On her terms.
He shifted, lowering his voice slightly, as if the walls might be listening.
She has a grandson, Thomas. Lost his father in the war, wanted to learn how to make wands. Tried to get Gregorovitch, but he wouldn't take him on.
Harry's attention sharpened.
Ollivander did. Adopted him. Took the name and everything.
Silence settled between them, not heavy, but significant.
Can you tell me how to get there?
Bill stood and reached for his coat without hesitation.
I'll take you.
He paused, glancing toward the other room where Fleur's voice rose briefly, then softened again.
As I said, we are to leave for France. But this feels worth finishing. Let me tell Fleur I'll be back.
Harry nodded once.
Bill, thank you.
They stepped back outside together. The sea wind wrapped around them again, familiar now. As Bill moved closer, hand ready for sidelong apparition, Harry cast one last glance toward the small rise beyond the garden, then toward the cottage behind them. Every answer he was chasing seemed to sit just one step farther ahead. The world twisted. Chapter 3. On Her Terms. They did not arrive at the house. They arrived far from it. The world settled with a sharp pull behind Harry's eyes, the ground firming beneath his boots as the wind rolled across open land. The air here was different than the coast below, salt still present, but softened by grass, turned green and impossibly lush so close to the sea. It stretched outward in wide, manicured swaths, broken only by fencing that gleamed faintly with lead enchantments. Bill released him and stepped back, already scanning the perimeter.
She doesn't like surprises. Or shortcuts.
Bill said. Harry took it in quietly. The estate rose in the distance, not a manor in the traditional sense, but something broader. Older. Buildings arranged with intention rather than symmetry. Stone structures set back from one another, connected by worn paths and low walls overtaken by ivy that had clearly been allowed to grow rather than neglected. Beyond them, pastureland sloped toward the cliffs, horses grazing under the watchful movement of smaller figures that worked the fields with practiced ease. Following Harry's gaze, Bill said,
Field elves. She's had them since before I was born.
As if summoned by notice alone, one detached itself from the far edge of the garden and approached them. Taller than a house elf, leaner, its movements efficient and wordless. It inclined its head once and turned without a sound, clearly expecting to be followed. They were. As they walked, Harry noticed the quiet order of the place. Not the stillness of neglect, but of ownership. Everything here was tended, watched, claimed. Wards led invisibly over soil and stone. Old magic, not decorative, not reactive, preventative. The kind that assumed intrusion before it ever occurred. The house revealed itself last. It sat back from the fields, wide rather than tall, windows catching the light but offering nothing of the interior. Smoke curled lazily from one chimney. The doors opened before they reached them. A house elf appeared at once. It bowed deeply to Harry, took his coat without asking, and vanished. Bill's coat remained firmly on his shoulders. Harry noted it. So did Bill. Inside, the sitting room was flooded with light. Large windows looked out over the pasture, curtains drawn back but never fully open. The furniture was arranged for comfort, not presentation, and every surface held something old. Silver-framed photographs, crystal pieces that hummed faintly with warded purpose, objects that had survived generations without ever needing explanation. Muriel did not look up when they entered. She sat near the window, a teacup balanced precariously close to the arm of her chair, sunlight catching the sharp silver of her hair and the sharper calculation in her eyes. Bill smiled tightly.
Morning, Auntie Muriel.
She took a sip before answering.
You still need a haircut. And that jacket does nothing for your shoulders.
Lovely to see you too.
Her gaze shifted then, slow, deliberate, and landed on Harry. She assessed him the way one assessed property or livestock, eyes traveling from boots to posture to face, lingering only briefly on the lightning scar before moving on.
They do embellish, you know. Your name. Bill talks as though it might catch fire if said incorrectly.
Her lips twitched.
And just Harry, is it? Or do I need to stand when you enter the room? The way they talk about you, Maybe take a bow.
Just Harry.
Pity. Stars usually sparkle more.
She turned her attention back to the window.
Taller than I expected. Thinner too. No girlfriend and no proper meals, I suppose.
Harry said nothing. Muriel watched the pasture for a moment longer, then sighed faintly.
So,
she said, as though resuming a conversation that had never stopped.
That's what all the noise was about.
Harry waited.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, well, officially you mean. Barney.
Harry smiled as he already had a feeling she knew at the time. She gestured vaguely with her cup.
Sit if you like. Don't hover about or people get the wrong impression.
Harry sat. Bill cleared his throat.
Fleur and I are heading to France.
Muriel waved a hand without looking at him.
Yes. Pretty girl. But French.
Bill smiled, already stepping back.
I'll see myself out.
Bring the baby by so I can look it over.
Yes, Auntie Muriel.
Bill replied without turning around. The door closed behind him. Muriel waited a beat longer. Then, she leaned forward slightly.
So, what do you do now that you're not busy saving the world?
Muriel said. Harry didn't answer immediately.
I've been spending time in Godric's Hollow.
Harry eventually said. Muriel's mouth twitched.
No job.
I've been tying up loose ends.
Sentimental. Dangerous habit. People mistake it for purpose.
She set her cup down.
You're friends with my niece and her family. They can do more. Live below their means they do. I was told that Twin has a joke shop now.
Harry nodded.
I know Gwendolyn Morgan. Talks endlessly. Says Ginny Weasley flies like she's angry at the air itself. On and on about the way the girl flies. Just incessant rambling if you ask me.
Harry smiled faintly, which he normally did whenever Ginny's name is mentioned. Muriel noticed.
There it is. That look. You listen more than you talk. That's either intelligence or damage.
Sometimes both.
She laughed once. Sharp. Brief.
Good answer. You're not here for tea.
No.
She leaned back, satisfied now.
Then say what you came to say.
Muriel continued with what might have been a chuckle.
Before I start telling you things you weren't meant to know.
Harry didn't rush it.
I'm looking for Ollivander.
Her expression didn't change, but her eyes sharpened.
Which one?
She mused as she already knew who Harry spoke of. Harry paused, then remembered Bill's words.
Garrick. Your husband.
Muriel smiled at last.
So, that Weasley family babbles too much about the business of others.
Harry gave her a look that said, "Your nerve." Without looking at him, Muriel continued.
In the barn. With the boy.
She snapped her fingers.
A fella.
A house elf with a few strands of white hair and a long nose. Features of old age surrounded her face appeared out of thin air. The quaint house elf muttered.
Yes, madam.
My oldest house elf.
Muriel said to no one in particular. She continued.
Show Harry Potter to the new workshop.
Yes, madam.
Othello grabbed Harry's arm and pulled him towards the rear of the house.
Come along, sir.
Harry looked back, while being rushed by the little house elf.
Thank you, Mrs. Ollivander.
Humph.
Muriel huffed in a way that seemed more dismissive than acknowledgement.
I hope you have enjoyed Harry Potter and the Death of the U, an unofficial extended chronicle of the Wizarding World. Coming next week, Death of the U, Chapter 4, Workshop and the Apprentice.